Indy, over here.
Indiana Jones, at your service, Toad. Ah!
Indiana Jones and other action figures new from Raiders of the Lost Ark collection, each sold separately.
Watch him, Cairo, swordsman. Yeah, watch my swing. Yikes! All downhill from here, swordsman.
If y'all watch my content at like a normal amount, like enough to know at least a little bit about me, you'll know I love Indiana Jones. So one of my favorite characters, one of the inspirations for the way that I feel about certain subjects. It's like, you know, Indiana Jones is right on most opinions when it comes to the guys that he punches. And we love that. We love that for Indy. And I recently got the first Indiana Jones action figure that was ever released at a local toy show. And I was like, this is a good opportunity to kind of go through a mini toy history of Indiana Jones and talk about, you know, the different iterations and generational toys and get a little insight into how long this franchise has been toy. That's a good way to put this, right? How long this franchise has been toy. God, Riley. It was a long night yesterday, so I apologize.
You'll be sorry, Jones.
Tricked you again, Toad.
Indiana Jones, Toad, and Cairo Swordsman action figures, each sold separately from Raiders of the Lost Ark collection, new from Kenner.
So this guy right here is the guy that I picked up the other day, Saturday, at the toy show. And this is the original first release Indiana Jones figure. You can see on the back, it says 1982. Raiders came out in 81. So this was right after the movie came out, and it's made by Kenner. And these Kenner figures were, you know, the same size as the Star Wars ones, the same kind of playability. They had little sets and play sets and accessories. And mine doesn't have any accessories. I got it for $7, but he does not have his pistol. He does not have his whip. And the whip is how you can tell the original ones is usually they have a broken thumb on the right hand, because the whip, the little thing that they made for it, was too big for his hands, and it would just break the thumbs off. But it did have, it does have the whip action arm. I don't know if you used to have to squeeze the legs for it to do that, or if you just do the arm that way. But yeah, it was really cool to see this. I immediately was like, I want this. How much can I get this for? $7. Got this guy in my hand, and it is really cool to hold. Like, I'm pretty sure this is one of the oldest action figures in my collection, if not the oldest, which is really cool. And it's in decent shape. Like, the paint is mostly still on there, you know? So I was like, you're not going to find one without the broken thumb unless you pay a hefty price. And then you add on the accessories. That's even more. It's like $250 something loose. And then you find one on card. Just forget about it. So this was an awesome find, and it was really cool to add this to my collection. So that first Indiana Jones toy line was really successful, and of course the sequel came out, Temple of Doom, and they wanted to replicate that success, but the toy line did not get very far. I think they had a few figures released and not very many, and I have one of them here. I don't have Indiana Jones, but I have Mola Ram, which is interesting because, what does this say, 1984. So this is from 84, I believe. Is that when Temple of Doom came out? Probably. But we've got Mola Ram, and he did have like a headdress and an accessory at one point, because look, he's got the same arm action, but he actually has a lever on his back. But this toy line started, and Temple of Doom was kind of controversial for, at the time it was PG, but it was very violent graphics, satanic, all that kind of stuff, and kids were scared, so the toy line kind of got shelved. Like, they did maybe like 4 figures, and that was really it. And they scaled them larger, obviously, than the 81 or 82 toy line. So they're more of a 5-inch than a 3 1/4 inch, maybe 4 inch. I would say that's maybe like 4.5 inch figure. I'm not sure the exact scale, but you can see it. So you couldn't play with this original Indiana Jones with the Temple of Doom figures, which I'm sure was kind of like another reason why kids were just like, and I'm not sure why exactly they did that. Maybe they wanted to try something new, but it is amazing to have these 2 figures. And this toy line is very rare. Mola Ram is not the rarest one, but there's like, I think there was an Indy in there. It's like 3. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to post some pictures up during the video. But there wasn't a lot, and it just ended prematurely, and it didn't do well. So that was really the end of Indiana Jones toys at the mass market for a long time.
The Indiana Jones who I saw when I was a kid here, the only time I came to Disney was the Indiana Jones who trained me into the show. His name's Kevin Broussard, and it's one of those where you don't want to meet your heroes, but you do want to meet Kevin Broussard.
And you know, we didn't have a movie or anything for a long time, but we did have the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular at Disney's Hollywood Studios, where they do all the movie stuff. So we did have some action figures, and there was actually like a 5-inch Indiana Jones figure that came with like a sword and a torch, and I did have it at some point. I don't know what happened to it, but we also had this statue that they sold in Disney parks, and I remember getting this. I remember looking in the store and looking for an action figure, because that's how I was even back then. I wanted an Indiana Jones action figure, and at this point they didn't have one that I was looking for, or I think my brother got the 5-inch figure, and I was really bummed because I didn't want to have the same thing. So I got this, and eventually, you know, he just gave me that figure, but it's gone. I still don't know what happened to it. I would have totally loved to put that in this video. But we got this statue, which is kind of a poster shot from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it does have a little bit of articulation. Like, you can move the arms and the head. No, the head is static, but the hat comes off, and the whip, you can remove the top part for whatever reason. There's really not too much to it. It's just a sculpt. It's vinyl. It's like a soft plastic. And yeah, I wanted to include it because it is technically an Indiana Jones figure, just larger. And it was like, so we had the original toy line, Temple of Doom, then we had nothing because there was no movies. It was just the stunt spectacular, comic books, video games. That was all happening at that point. But then in 2008, we got another toy line because Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out.
The adventure is in your hands with the Indiana Jones Sound Effects Whip. With real indie action sounds and music. With the Indiana Jones Sound Effects Whip, you can make every day an adventure.
And this toy line actually went back to the 3 3/4 inch scale, slightly, ever so slightly bigger than the original. But it fit in with the Star Wars Vintage Collection stuff and all the 3 3/4 Hasbro stuff that was happening right now. And it was welcome because much like Star Wars at that scale, you got to have vehicles and play sets. And they did a lot of stuff. They did every single movie. They did Temple of Doom. They had Mala Ram. They had, you know, the guards from Temple of Doom. They had literal SS officers, so they weren't holding back. You got a lot of stuff, and I used to have the whole line, but when Adventure Series came out, I was like, I should have kept them, but that's just how my brain works. I'm like, oh, finally, the shiny new ones, but I kept a couple of Indiana Jones, and it's really cool to see essentially the same figure, but updated heavily. So 1982, 2008, we got two very similar but different products from essentially the same company because Hasbro, you know, kind of absorbed Kenner and bought them and all the rights and all that stuff. So we got that in 2008. It was a fun line. There's a lot of figures. They released almost every Indiana Jones figure. And that's something I wish the next toy line had continued with, but they just kind of did a certain amount and we're done, which is a shame because there's a new game coming out, which is amazing, the Grand Circle, or the Great Circle, and you know, we have the comic books and so many other sources of Indiana Jones figures they could have made, but they were just like, no, we're just going to end it, and that's unfortunate. But this was a great toy line, 2008, and so was the original 82 toy line, although I wasn't born then. 8 years before my time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is a live stream, a fan stream of First here.
Now we're into the modern era because we had a new Indiana Jones movie called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in, 2021, 2022? I'm not sure exactly. It was pretty recently. And to coincide with that, Hasbro released Indiana Jones, the Adventure Series, and it was 6-inch in their 1/12 Black Series style scale. The Black Series team was actually working on it, and we got all 4 movies. Well, we got 3 out of 4 movies. There was not a drip of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in this toy line. And they did do figures from the new movie. They only did 4, though. In kind of a weird selection. They had the 2 of the main characters, the bad guy, and the... Excuse me, I got hiccups. And then Antonio Banderas' random character that was in the movie for 5 minutes, and there was other characters they could have done, more bad guys, the kid's sidekick, because we did get Temple of Doom with Short Round, no Marion, no Mala Ram, So it was very hit and miss as far as what they released, because they should have done a lot more, honestly. There's a lot of Indiana Jones fans out there, and this is probably the best likeness that they did for him. This is the Last Crusade head sculpt with the movable hat, but I swapped it onto the Raiders body and I dirtied it up, and I essentially made him the end of the Last Crusade Indiana Jones here. And I figure that's a good way to wrap off that toy line right here, or talk about it, is have the culmination of the whole line, because the Last Crusade there's a lot of figures in that wave, and we got a lot of indies, and yeah, it's a great movie. But Raiders is obviously my favorite, but I wanted to kind of represent all the different eras of Indiana Jones. So this is that Last Crusade, or not Last Crusade, yeah, Last Crusade rep right there, with the Adventure series. And honestly, I wish it was still going. I bought every single one. I would continue to buy them if they keep making them, honestly. The next one that we got was the SH Figuarts Indiana Jones, and this is a great figure. You can actually swap the arms out to put the jacket on, take the jacket off, so you can have multiple looks, multiple faceplates, all that good stuff. Articulation out the wazoo, so you can, you know, get him in all those adventuring poses that you would expect. And yeah, it is a little bit smaller than the Adventure Series one, but you could put it with the rest of the Adventure Series figures if you wanted to. It just kind of doesn't fit aesthetically, the realism, the accessories, the articulation. But if you wanted to, you could still stick him in there. And I think the likeness on the head sculpt is pretty dang good. And that smiling one it's all right. It's not perfect, but I wanted to have a smiling Indy in here to replicate that front of the Raiders poster where he's, you know, in Cairo with Marion and all that stuff, because that's the most iconic look from Raiders is the half-tuck shirt and the whip above his head and, you know, smiling. That's what we all picture in our mind's eye, right? Great figure. It was kind of expensive. And there was one more like import figure that came out. It was the Figma Indiana Jones, and it was kind of like based on an older looking Indy. Like the head sculpt was terrible. So, and also the figure was pretty butt too, so I didn't get that, and I don't need that one. I have all these other ones. So the SHF was really good as far as accessories and articulation and stuff, but honestly the best one is my most recent modern Indiana Jones figure, and of course it's going to be the Mezco, because Mezco doesn't work for everything, but soft goods, Indiana Jones leather jacket and pants, and he's just a dude in an adventure outfit, and that's perfect, right up Mezco's alley. I don't get every Mezco figure, but Indiana Jones, that was a given. And the articulation is a little bit more limited than the SHF. Obviously, we've got the soft goods and different type of body involved, but as far as aesthetics and the way that he looks and the scale and the way that the clothing hangs off of his body, it's pretty much perfect. We got his satchel. There's a couple issues. We don't have a bendy wire whip. The holster for his pistol does not close. It just kind of has a wire that you kind of put over to act like it's closed right here. So there's a couple of issues they could have done, especially because he's 125, came with a Polystone idol display from the beginning of Raiders. Couple of different head sculpts, but just aesthetically, look at this guy. You can't say he doesn't look great. Is it the best head sculpt? No, but Mezco is really not known for the likenesses. They kind of do their own stylized take on a likeness, but it definitely, you can tell it's Indiana Jones in the head sculpt at the very least, and that's what matters. I do have a little bit of a problem with that peg not wanting to stay on, but I love all of these figures. I am very glad to have every single one of them, and I just kind of wanted to do a little deep dive.
I've had enough of this jungle.
It's Indiana Jones, a large-size action figure.
That boulder's coming in fast.
He's new from Kenner's Raiders of the Lost Ark collection.
Talk about my favorite character for a little bit, the toy history that we've had behind it, and, you know, hopefully we get more someday. More in the 6-inch scale with a more thorough cast of characters would be awesome for me. But yeah, I feel like for now, my Indiana Jones collection is complete, unless I wanted to go back and get the whole 82 toy line, which I'm not crazy. I'm not going to spend that kind of money on that, but it would be nice. There's a little pipe dream there. But if you all like this video, go ahead and smash like, hit subscribe if you're new here. If you want to support the channel, you can become a channel member for 99 cents. Join the Rowdy Rascals. Check out the subreddit r/figurefanatics. Comment, let me know what you think of this video. If we do more stuff like this, what's your favorite one of these Indiana Jones figure characters is. how your day is going. Just say hey, do all that stuff, keep your head up, stay brave, be kind to your local LGBTQ plus community. If you're protesting, be extra super duper safe. I love y'all. I will see you next time, and bye-bye.
That belongs in a museum. So do you.
Return to
mythical Walmart end cap.
Ah, Morty, you're still watching this crap, isn't this? To review figures and toys and stuff. Aren't you a little old for toys? Ah, geez, Rick, you know, I don't think you should call her a bitch, and I kind of like her videos, so maybe you should shut the up. Thank you, Morty. Thank you.